Have you ever wondered why some people command instant respect, never have to explain themselves, and still seem to attract admiration, opportunities, and loyalty without even trying? What if the real secret isn't in what they say, but in what they don't? In a world that pressures you to speak up, prove yourself, and seek constant validation, those who remain calm, mysterious, and in control of their energy are the ones who rise above the noise. And the truth is, you can become one of them. This video will reveal the 3 unshakable principles that make people truly unattainable, unshakable, and respected, and why you must stop explaining yourself, stop being available to everyone, and start prioritizing your peace. You'll learn the powerful art of strategic silence, how to shift your energy so that others treat you with greater value, and why setting boundaries is the most magnetic thing you can do. If you're tired of being overlooked, used, or taken for granted, you need to hear this. So stay until the end, because this message could change the way you walk through the world forever. This isn't about arrogance. It's about reclaiming your power. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Fact number 1, the less you reveal, the more control you have. In this world of constant noise and constant expectations, silence can be your greatest ally. The truth is, not everyone deserves to know your thoughts, your plans, or your next move. There is immense power in holding back, in choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. It's an act of self-preservation, a way to guard your inner peace and your world from those who would use it against you. There is something sacred about what you keep to yourself. And believe me, this practice, this art of revealing less, is a game changer. When you speak less, you gain so much more. You become a master of observation. You stop feeling the urge to explain every action, every thought, every decision. And in doing so, you begin to see what others are truly about. It's like the fog lifts, and you can see people's hidden motives, their true intentions. The world around you becomes a much clearer place when you choose to listen instead of talk. Silence is a shield, and when you wield it correctly, it's not about being passive, it's about controlling the space you occupy. Silence creates an air of mystery. When no one knows exactly what you're thinking, they can't easily predict you. And in a world where predictability can be a weakness, mystery becomes your strength. This doesn't just impact how others see you, it impacts how they treat you. Have you ever noticed how those who never feel the need to explain themselves are often the ones who are respected the most? There's an underlying confidence in them. It's the confidence that comes from knowing you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your actions, your results, your choices, these speak louder than any word could ever do. You don't need to make excuses. You don't need to apologize for standing your ground. And that, my friend, is power. But here's the thing, this practice of silence also gives you a heightened awareness. You begin to feel the energy of the people around you, picking up on things others might miss. Words are only a small part of communication. Energy speaks volumes, and when you're tuned into it, you can read between the lines, hearing what people aren't saying. How to use mystery to your advantage? First off, keep your plans to yourself. I've seen so many people fail simply because they couldn't resist telling others about their plans before they've even started. You don't need to explain yourself, just do it. Let your actions speak louder than your words ever could. And when it comes to your decisions, don't apologize for them. Don't feel the need to justify yourself. If you've made up your mind, own it. Stand firm. The results will tell the story, and that will always be more powerful than any explanation. One of the most understated, yet most powerful tools in the art of mystery is controlling your body language. It's not just about what you say, but how you carry yourself, your posture, your gaze. The way you pause before speaking, it all adds to the air of mystery that makes you so captivating. A neutral expression, a calm demeanor, and controlled pauses speak volumes. Learn to embrace silence. It's not awkward. It's not uncomfortable. It's powerful. People who have mastered the art of silence understand that they don't need to fill every moment with noise. They know their worth, and they know they don't have to prove anything to anyone. Leave a little room for curiosity. When people don't know everything about you, they'll want to know more. They'll be intrigued. They'll want to figure you out. And the more they try to figure you out, the more control you have. When you pause before responding to a tough question, you build anticipation. You build curiosity. You make people hang on to your every word, waiting to see what you'll say next. And that power is magnetic. Never share your weaknesses too freely. People are not always trustworthy, and what you share can be used against you. Guard your vulnerabilities closely. Only those who have proven themselves worthy of that level of trust should have access to your inner world. A practical exercise to strengthen your silent presence. Take a week to practice these principles. Speak less, but be more intentional with your words. Say only what needs to be said, and nothing more. Watch how people react when you don't give them all of yourself. Observe their behavior and their energy. When you choose to hold back, you'll see things you never saw before. Learn the power of the pause. Take a deep breath before responding and let the moment sit for just a second. The weight of that pause will make your words even more impactful. And remember, don't announce your plans, let your actions surprise people instead of your words. The result of mastering the art of silence. When you stop revealing everything about yourself, people start to see you in a new light. They become uncomfortable with the unknown, and that discomfort is where your power lies. Some will feel threatened and unsure of your intentions, and this creates a sense of mystery that is impossible to ignore. Others will admire your confidence and your calm. They'll respect your space. They'll recognize that you are not someone to be underestimated. But the true power in silence doesn't just come from what you say or don't say. It's about understanding when to prioritize yourself. And this is where many people falter. They sacrifice their needs to please others, to fit in, and to be liked. And in doing so, they surrender control of their lives. When you prioritize yourself, the power dynamic shifts in your favor. From childhood, we're conditioned to believe that putting others first is a noble act, but this belief can weaken us. Selflessness is often confused with self-sacrifice, but there's a major difference. Self-love is not selfishness. It's about protecting your energy, knowing your worth, and not allowing others to drain you. When you start prioritizing yourself, you stop being an option and you become a priority. People will see that you have standards. They'll see that your time, your energy, and your love are not given away lightly. And people respect that. They may not always understand it, but they'll respect it. The first unshakable fact: if you don't prioritize yourself, you will always be an option, never a priority. If you constantly give and never receive, you teach people that it's okay to take from you without giving anything in return. You teach them to take you for granted. But when you start saying no, when you start setting boundaries, you stop being an easy target. You stop being available all the time. And people begin to value you because you've shown them that you value yourself first. So how do you begin prioritizing yourself without feeling guilty? Learn to say no, and say it with confidence. No explanations, no justifications, just a simple no thank you. It's enough. This is your life, your energy, your time, and they are too precious to be wasted on those who won't reciprocate. Start choosing yourself and watch how everything around you changes. You'll begin to feel more empowered, more in control, and more at peace with who you are. Stop giving without reciprocity. Let me say that again. Stop giving without reciprocity. It's one of the most important and freeing decisions you will ever make in your life. If you're always the one who shows up, who texts first, who makes the plans, who gives your time, your energy, your love. Pause. Just stop. Take a breath and observe. Look closely. Who's there for you when you're not giving? Who stays when you have nothing to offer but your presence? If the answer is no one, then maybe it's time to stop pouring your heart into people who only open their hands, not their hearts, when you show up. Cut access to those who don't value you. I know it sounds harsh. I know it feels heavy. But hear me, not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone deserves your time, your soul, your stories, your sacred energy. If someone only reaches out when they need something, they are not your friend. They are using you as a convenience, and you deserve better than that. You were not put on this earth to be someone's emotional doormat or safety net. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Invest in yourself first. Before you run to fix someone else, ask yourself, have I even checked in on me today? Your peace of mind, your energy, your well-being, those are sacred. Don't trade them for temporary validation or shallow connections. If a relationship, a situation, or a person drains you more than it feeds you, let it go. You are not meant to wither in the presence of people who don't know how to water your soul. Free yourself from the guilt of choosing yourself. You don't owe your time to anyone. You don't owe your energy, your explanations, your sacrifices. Not to friends, not to family, not to co-workers. If someone gets upset because you started putting yourself first, it only proves one thing: they were benefiting from your self-neglect. Let that truth sink in. Now here's something I dare you to do. Try this experiment for 1 week. Just 1 week. And see how your life starts to shift. Say no to something you genuinely don't want to do, and don't explain yourself. Stop making yourself available to everyone all the time. Take a full day for yourself, without responding to messages, without answering calls. Reflect on how often you've moved from obligation, not desire. You will be shocked at what happens next. Some people will fall away. Let them. Those who only showed up when you were useful will start to fade into the background. And that is not a loss. It's clarity. You've cleared the noise to make room for peace. But others, the ones who truly love and respect you, they'll stay. They'll honor your space. They'll notice the shift, and they'll rise to meet you at your new standard. And this is exactly what you want, because when you become your priority, something magical happens. The world responds to you differently. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop over-explaining and overextending. You begin to walk in your truth, and people take notice. Suddenly, you're not the one desperately trying to be chosen. You become the one people want to choose. And the reason is simple: you've chosen yourself first. There's an energy that comes with that kind of self-respect. It radiates. It transforms you. You don't have to say a word. People just feel it. They feel your shift, your boundaries, your confidence. They feel the weight of your silence and the clarity in your no. And here's the deeper truth. The people who once took you for granted will start to feel like they're losing you, because they're losing access to the version of you who gave without limits, who tolerated too much, who stayed quiet when they should have walked away. But now, you're no longer begging to be seen. You are seen because your energy no longer blends in with desperation. It pulses with purpose. This is the real transformation. You stop existing for others and begin living with intention. You no longer seek to be loved at any cost. You become the one who sets the cost. And when did that shift happen? Everything changes. People respect what they cannot control. And when you become unattainable, not because you're cold, but because you're centered, the power dynamics shift. You no longer exist on the world's terms. The world begins to respond to yours. Carl Jung once said that the goal of life is individuation, becoming whole within yourself. It means becoming a person who doesn't depend on external approval or attachment to feel valid. When you reach this state of being, Your very presence becomes a vibration that people feel without understanding. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who doesn't chase, doesn't plead, doesn't over-explain, and yet everyone wants to be around them? That's not luck. That's not arrogance. That's self-possession. That's what happens when someone masters the art of prioritizing themselves without guilt. So here is the second unshakable truth. People respect those who are not afraid to lose anything, because those people have already realized they were the prize all along. And when you become that version of yourself, you won't have to force anyone to respect you. You won't need to beg for love. You won't need to perform for acceptance. Your presence will do the work for you. So stop waiting to be chosen. Choose yourself every single time. Fact number 2, your presence becomes stronger the moment you realize you don't need to say a word. There is a quiet power in those who know who they are. They don't need to speak loudly, seek approval, or chase applause. And yet somehow they captivate every room they walk into. That is the energy of someone who has become truly unattainable. They don't perform for attention. They don't strive to be seen. They don't stretch themselves thin trying to be liked. Why? Because they have already accepted themselves. They carry a self-assurance so deep that others can feel it before a single word is spoken. That kind of confidence doesn't scream, it resonates. It's magnetic. It draws people in without trying. You've seen both types before, haven't you? The one who talks too much, laughs too loudly, constantly seeks validation, desperately trying to be everything for everyone. They want to be liked. They want to be chosen. But all that effort feels empty, exhausting. And it is. Because when you're constantly chasing approval, you're handing out pieces of yourself to people who haven't earned them. Now, contrast that with someone who walks into a room and doesn't need to perform. They simply are. Their energy speaks louder than words ever could. They are grounded. They are calm. They are in control. And because of that, they stand out without trying. This is what happens when you stop needing the world to validate your worth. And here's the truth. When you reach this level of inner strength, people start treating you differently. They sense something in you that commands respect, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. You are no longer seen as someone desperate to be accepted. You are seen as someone worth knowing. But getting there is just the beginning. Staying there, that's where the real test begins. Because the world will try to pull you back. People who are threatened by your peace will try to rattle it. Those who once had easy access to your time and energy will resent your boundaries. That's why maintaining your power requires intentional effort. So how do you protect this elevated version of yourself? 1. Never put anyone above your peace. Your peace is priceless. It is your sanctuary. If someone enters your life and makes you question your worth, belittles your voice, or makes you feel small, they do not deserve to stay. Let that sink in. You do not owe access to anyone who disturbs your soul, no matter how close they once were. If someone costs you your peace, they are too expensive. Stop romanticizing relationships that leave you feeling drained. The right people will never force you to shrink it off their comfort. And if someone makes you doubt yourself constantly, that is not love, that is control disguised as care. Choose peace over people every single time. 2. Stop explaining and justifying your choices. You don't need to convince anyone that you're doing the right thing for your life. You are the one living it, not them. When you make a decision, own it. Stand tall in it. Even if it doesn't make sense to others, it doesn't have to. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to live in alignment with your truth. The need to justify yourself is a trap that pulls you back into self-doubt. The moment you feel the urge to explain your every move, pause and ask yourself, why? Who are you trying to please? Who are you afraid to disappoint? You'll often find the answer points back to old wounds, not present truths. You have nothing to prove. Your decisions, your values, your boundaries, they do not require permission. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. 3. Surround yourself with people who protect your peace, not people who disturb it. Your environment matters. Your circle influences your energy more than you realize. If you're constantly around people who are insecure, needy, and validation hungry, you will start to feel drained and pulled back into old patterns. Even if you're strong now, their fear can infect your confidence like a virus. Be with people who also choose themselves. Be with people who are calm, self-aware, and rooted in their own identity. Because they won't envy your growth, they'll celebrate it. They won't guilt-trip you for setting boundaries, they'll honor them. And that kind of community will nourish your soul instead of depleting it. Here's something no one tells you. You don't need to fight for your place in the lives of people who genuinely love you. You don't need to perform. You don't need to chase. You just need to be. And when you reach that state, when your presence speaks louder than any performance ever could, you become untouchable. Not because you're distant or aloof, but because you've learned to honor the value of your presence. So remember this, the strongest presence doesn't need to speak to be heard. It moves in silence, radiates calm, and lives in full alignment with its truth. When you live that way, everything shifts. People see you differently. They respect you more. And most importantly, you begin to respect yourself like never before. And that is the real victory. Fact number 3, when you become unattainable, the entire dynamic of your world begins to shift, and it shifts in your favor. This isn't just about being seen differently. No, it's far more profound than that. When you become unattainable, you no longer revolve around others, you become the center of your universe. And people feel that. They sense the difference in your energy. The ones who once looked past you now look for you. The ones who used to manipulate you now feel strangely uncomfortable in your presence. Why? Because they can no longer play the same games. You've changed. You've awakened. Being unattainable doesn't mean you're cold or distant. It means you are no longer accessible to those who only wanted you for what you could give, not for who you are. It means you've reclaimed your power. You no longer hand it out freely in exchange for crumbs of validation. And because of that, life starts meeting you on your terms. Respect comes not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Opportunities start appearing, not because you chase them, but because you've become someone who draws them in naturally. And this shift? It's not magic. It's a mindset. It's the result of finally choosing yourself. But here's the real secret. Maintaining that mindset takes awareness and discipline. It takes a decision every single day to stay rooted in your worth, not in the approval of others. So here's a powerful 1-week experiment to help you stay in this elevated state of being. Observe who tries to get your attention. Ask yourself honestly, do they truly deserve it? Or are they just drawn to your energy now that you're no longer giving it away? When you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause. Stay silent. Let the discomfort pass. Let the moment breathe. You'll begin to realize how often you used to explain your truth just to ease someone else's insecurity, and you'll learn that silence holds more power than any justification ever could. Eliminate behaviors rooted in desperation. No more over-apologizing. No more chasing people who don't meet you halfway. No more shrinking yourself to fit places you've outgrown. Every night, ask yourself one simple but honest question. Did I act from a place of security today, or from a need to be liked? Let that reflection anchor your journey. What happens when you reach this level? Something extraordinary. The world begins to treat you differently, not because you asked it to, but because you no longer need it to. You stop seeking attention, and suddenly you have more of it than ever before. You stop begging for validation, and somehow, admiration finds its way to you. You feel a kind of freedom that's hard to describe. It's the freedom that comes from knowing that you no longer need to earn your place in anyone's life. You don't chase love, approval, or praise. You simply exist in your truth, and that truth is magnetic. And that's the difference. When you no longer seek from the outside, everything you once ran after begins to chase you. But to get here, something sacred must be released. The need for external permission to be who you already are. You must let go of the parts of you that were dependent on being accepted, approved, and understood, because those were the parts that kept you trapped in cycles of emotional exhaustion. And this is what separates the truly unattainable from the endlessly available. The unattainable have stepped into their power. They've realized that their energy, their attention, their love, it is a privilege, not a right. And not everyone qualifies. This is not arrogance. It's awareness. It's self-respect. It's finally understanding that your value doesn't decrease when someone fails to see it. It remains intact. It remains untouchable. When you reach this level, you no longer play by the rules set by others. You don't ask for permission to exist boldly. You don't beg to be understood. You simply become the authority in your own life. You speak less, but your energy says everything. And that's why people treat you differently. Because when you stop chasing, you become the magnet. When you stop explaining, you become the mystery. And when you stop begging, you become the prize. So ask yourself now, from the depths of your soul, am I still trying to be chosen? Or have I finally chosen myself? Because the moment you choose the world, will have no choice but to follow your lead. Now take a moment to breathe and reflect. What have you learned about yourself through all of this? Have you realized how much of your power you were giving away just to be liked, accepted, or understood? Have you recognized how strong your presence becomes when you stop over-explaining? Stop chasing and start choosing yourself? We've talked about silence, presence, and self-prioritization, not as acts of ego, but as acts of healing and personal power. So now I want to hear from you. What is the one thing you've learned today that you're going to put into practice in your life? Is it embracing your silence, setting boundaries without guilt, or finally recognizing that you don't need anyone's approval to be whole? Drop your answer in the comments below. I'll be reading them all. Let this be the beginning of your transformation, not just another message you hear and forget. And if this video spoke to your soul, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content that empowers you to live unapologetically and love yourself fiercely. You are not here to beg for love. You are here to become the love you once thought you needed from others. Your energy is sacred. Honor it. And remember, the world begins to shift when you do.